Welcome to the heart of Hoffman Estates. Glad to have you with us. Last month, the trustees and I had the opportunity to attend a Stand for the Silent presentation with founder Kirk Smalley. Kirk's mission is to educate kids about bullying and empower them to stand up and be a good friend. His story is both heartbreaking and inspiring. It will no doubt touch your heart as it did ours. At Hoffman Estates High School, I had the chance to learn about SOAR, a program aimed to help students maintain a positive environment at school. Enjoy the show. Today we have a very important presentation, Stand for the Silent, by Kirk Smalley, who has made his life's mission a crusade to end bullying. It's a very powerful presentation. I know you will be very moved. And now I'd like to turn it over to Representative Crespo.
Let me just share some numbers that I got from the Attorney General's office. 42% of our kids in the state of Illinois get bullied at least once. We have 25% get bullied more than once. We have 35 students get threatened online, and 20% get threatened more than once. But here's the sad part. 58% of those that get bullied or threatened never report that to their parents, never report that to an adult. So they deal with that all by themselves the best way they can, and that's when we run into problems. When I was a young kid back like in 1898, it was very easy to find out when kids were being bullied. It would happen at the park, it would happen at the school, but now with social media, with cyberbullying, it's so difficult to find out what's going on. And it's something that's a challenge for all General Assemblies throughout every state in our beautiful union. So it's something that's very important, something that you as a parent need to know about. And I think you can see the impact that it has on our kids. And I know Kurt will talk more about the stats as well.
This is a brief history of Stand for the Silent. SFTS is about students teaching students not to bully. It takes all of us teaching that bully hurts and changes lives forever. 68 UB students and a handful of adults decided to make a difference, to make a change, and to be part of the solution. Now let me introduce you to these 5 chairs. These chairs represent 5 kids that have taken their own lives due to bullying.
This chair belongs to Michelle Gibson. Michelle is my sister. Michelle was from Oswego, Illinois, and was 27 years old. She was a special education teacher. She graduated from Illinois State University with honors, and she immediately began teaching. Through her life, Michelle was bullied and hurt by some of the people closest to her, which resulted in her being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Despite her brilliant smile, crazy sense of humor, and drive to help others, Michelle fought an internal battle every single day. She gave up her fight, and we lost Michelle on January 31st, 2014.
This chair belongs to Brandon. He lived in Coweta, Oklahoma.
He loved to ride his four-wheeler, fishing, camping, and helping on the family farm and in the family truck business. His mom always said he was her mechanic who was smart enough to be a rocket scientist. Brandon was bullied for many years by people that never took the time to get to know him. Brandon took his own life to end his pain December 16, 2000 at the age of 18.
This chair belongs to Brianna. She was from Australia. Bullying happens around the world. Bree loves fishing, surfing, and she was good at all sports. Bree was bullied by some of her own trusted friends on Facebook and MySpace. At the age of 14, Bree took her own life to escape the constant bullying. We lost Breezy April 28th, 2010.
This chair belongs to Montana. He was from Texas. At the age of 9, Montana was being suspended from school because he retaliated against a bully. He was in the school office waiting for his parents to pick him up. After locking himself in the bathroom, he hung himself with his own belt. We lost Montana January 21st, 2010.
This chair belongs to Ty. He was from Perkins, Oklahoma, and he was 11. Ty had a big heart and always had a big smile for everyone. He loved to hunt and help others. He was small for his age, and 2 years of being bullied was just too much for him. He retaliated against the bully, and he was suspended. We lost Ty May 13th, 2010. Now let me introduce you to Ty's dad and my friend, Kirk Smalley.
Hi guys. Hey, my name's Kirk. I'm Ty's dad. You know, I'm hoping that maybe you can learn something from me here this morning. I guess really even more than that, I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can learn something from you. Hoping that maybe you guys can teach me that there are other people in this world besides me and a handful of kids called Stand for the Silent that actually do care about others. See, 3,038 days ago, I left for work at 4:30 in the morning. My wife Laura, our boy Ty, they left the house a couple hours later to go to school. Fred, Laura actually worked at the school that Ty went to, you know. And she took that job just so she could be near our kid. You know, she wanted to be off work the same day as Ty was out of school. On that particular day, Ty was sitting in the gym with his best friend. You know, they were just waiting on class to start. And this kid that had been picking on him for over 2 years come up and started messing with him again. He retaliated. Y'all know what happens when you retaliate? It's always the second guy that gets caught, ain't it? I mean, face it, guys, the bully gets to plan what he's going to do. He gets to look around, see where all the teachers are. Waits until nobody's looking, then he goes up and does whatever it is he's going to do, huh? And the victim, what do? They just react. Disturbance draws the teacher's eye. They always seem to look over and see that second guy take a swing, huh? That's what happened to my boy. Oh, Ty retaliated. He's the one that got caught. He was suspended for 3 days. They called his mom and she went and picked him up, took him home. They were short-handed that day at work, and so Laura had to go back. She told Ty to do his homework. Told him to do his chores. She told him that we were going to talk about it when we got home that evening. You know, my wife came home at 2:38 p.m. on May 13th. She found out my baby hadn't done his homework. Ty didn't do his chores. Instead, my boy killed himself on my bedroom floor. You know, I got a phone call that day at 2:39. Caller ID said it was Laura, so I answered. She was screaming, and just screaming. I couldn't even understand a single word that she kept trying to tell me. She just kept screaming and screaming. Rich, finally, I screamed back at her. I told her, baby, you got to stop. You got to tell me what's going on. She managed to say, he's dead. He shot himself. You know, I actually asked her who. She said Ty. You know, ever since that day, Laura and I, we've traveled all over this country, all over this world, talking to families of kids that have done this same kind of thing. Y'all know I actually have a list of over 55,000 children that have taken their own lives because of being bullied right here in America in the last 7 years. Stand for the Silent was started by 68 high school kids from Oklahoma City. Didn't even know us. Those kids didn't know Ty. They heard about what happened to him, decided that they'd had enough. They weren't going to put up with this kind of thing happening anymore in their world without them doing everything they could to make it stop. You know what? I've met every single one of them 68 kids. I've hugged their necks. You know what they taught me? Well, they come from all walks of life. They're red and yellow and black and white, and they all got one thing in common. They all treat each other with love and respect. They do. They all got each other's back. If those 68 kids from so many different backgrounds can learn to love and respect each other and have each other's back, then any group of humans can learn that, right? And that makes that doable, huh? Did you know in America right now, 1 out of every 4 kids, that's 25%, right? 1 for 4, not only think about suicide, they will actually have a plan on how they would take their own life before they graduate from high school. We got to change that, don't we? Because those aren't numbers that we're talking about. Are they? Those aren't percentages. These are nobody's statistics. They're smiling little freckle faces. They're people that we know. They're people that we love. And adults can tell these guys, and teachers can tell them, and they have learned to let it go in one ear and out the other. But you know what? You can tell each other, right? Yeah. You'll listen to each other, won't you? Sugar, you can make this stop. Am I right? In fact, baby, you're the only one that probably can make this stop. Did you know that? Let's be real here a minute. You willing? You willing to be real with me? Sugar, your school cannot stop bullying, can they? You can. Right? Don't you think maybe it's time that all you young people in our world just take a stand? How about you show us adults the changes that we have to make, how we can do this, how we can just get along. 68 Upward Bound students and a handful of my Stand for the Silent kids, they have taught me that I am somebody and that I can make a difference in this world. And I know that I am somebody because I'm here today. And I'm talking to you guys. And most of you are even listening. And not only are you listening, some of you guys are actually sitting there taking the message to heart. Some of you are sitting there right now thinking, man, I got to get involved in this. I got to help spread this message around the rest of my school, to my family, to my community. Y'all want to do that? For real? You want to get involved and help me make this kind of thing stop in this world? You want my help? You holler. I'm there. I got your back, and those aren't just words come trickling out of this old man's mouth either, guys. I live it. I prove it every single day. Try me. I promise you, I plan on fighting bullying forever. I am only one. But I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And because I can't do everything, I will not refuse to do that something that I can do. It was on Father's Day. And I made that little boy right there a promise on that day. I promised Ty that I will stop bullying in this world. Sandy, I don't think I can keep my last promise to my baby. I need y'all's help. I need every one of you to get involved in this. And that's become my message. It's become Laura and I's whole mission in life now. And what you do with it now, totally and completely up to you. My mama always told me when I was a little bitty guy growing up, she said, boy, you got three kinds of people in your world right now. You got those who wish for things to happen, you got those who make things happen, and then you got those who sit around and wonder, what just happened? Which one are you going to be? Thanks for listening.
I'm Mayor Bill McLeod, and I'm here in the principal's office at Hoffman Estates High School. We're going to talk about the efforts that Hoffman Estates High School is doing to stop bullying.
We've taken the approach at Hoffman that the best way to stop bullying is to prevent it before it even happens. And so a large amount of our adult efforts from our staff go into preventing it. And so we've done a couple of things in order to just create kind of a culture of prevention and a culture of bullying isn't allowed here. It's not even something that we would think about or would do. And so two of the ways we've done that is we like to use the term all students should feel safe, welcomed, and valued here at this school. And that's one of the things that as the principal and as the administration we have told every student, every parent, and every staff member that that is the kind of environment that we want here at our school, that is the kind of culture. And so kind of setting that baseline expectation and foundation that everybody here feels welcome, safe, and valued. We have a long-standing program that we call SOAR, and the purpose of that is to also create a culture and a climate of kind of the things that we value. It's an acronym, and so S stands for show respect, O stands for own your actions. The really important one for bullying prevention is really the A, which stands for accepting differences. We have an extremely diverse student body and community here in Hoffman, as you know, and the surrounding communities. And so one of the things that we have taught multiple times, really a day, is that one of the things we do better than anybody else is accept all of the different students that come here, whether it's race, culture, background, whatever it is. And so we consistently send that message, our students consistently send that message to each other that this is a safe place where they're accepted. One of the things within this is obviously, I said, you know, the easiest way is to prevent it. As adults, we realize we can do everything that we possibly humanly can, and we can't be everywhere at once. And so we really lean on our students as well and try to empower them, teach them, and put them in the position where they can prevent bullying, because truly students are the only ones that are going to actually be able to prevent and stop it here.
So we have a group here at Hoffman Estates, we call it H.A.L.O, and it's an opportunity for students that maybe are having some troubles or something's going on around the school. They can come in and have a very sit-down, family-oriented setting in which we can talk about their problems and like what's going on, and we try and keep everything in the group. Obviously there's things that they have to be told outside the group if it's like an emergency, but we want to just have students sit down and feel welcome with us and talk about the things that are going on.
It's sort of a peer discipline situation.
Yeah, we don't want to call it discipline because then we don't want our own friends and peers to feel like as though we're better than them, because we're not.
And their group, you know, the group is called H.A.L.O. I think it stands for Hawks Always Lifting Others.
Yeah.
And it kind of came about from really a student group that came in and said, we want to be a part of this effort, right? Like, it shouldn't just be the adults that are doing this. It shouldn't just be the adults that are monitoring it. We have a role in this too. And so it was really a student-created group.
It actually started when I was a sophomore. There was a lot of the two people that are now in college, they decided that they wanted to act up and make a change in the school. So we got a group together and we got administration and everyone that we could to get H.A.L.O to get it up and running, and it's been going since.
Ashley, what's your experience been? Has this program been effective, do you believe?
I feel like it has been effective. The way that it's supposed to be met is that students react differently with like their peers than they do with teachers. So if a teacher tells you, like, hey, what you're doing is wrong, like, this can't be happening, they might just blow it off. But if you hear it from your peers and who, like, are equal to you, and like they hear, they might be like, oh, like that might actually be affecting others, like my friends, like the people around me. So the whole thing is just to kind of sit down and to just talk about it and just realize that what they're doing actually makes a difference, and not just because like authority figures are telling you that it does.
Do you have any specific examples that you'd like to mention about where you've seen how this has worked very effectively?
Well, actually, there has been a couple students that have come into H.A.L.O, and they may have had some problems and things like that, and they realize that H.A.L.O is something that they want to do, and it's a part of, maybe they've messed up a couple times, but they're like, we want to be in H.A.L.O, and they've changed who they are just so that they can help us. They are now a part of H.A.L.O, and they help us come sit down and talk to everyone else. So it's brought a lot of students that maybe have had troubles to join a group like us and just help everyone out.
How big a group is your H.A.L.O group?
I would say we have around like 50 students.
That's a pretty
so
good.
It's pretty good, and we get we get assigned by like different blocks that we have free.
Right, so it's not like all 50 like all at one time, so it's spread out so that the like kids probably don't feel like attacked. It's just kind of like a few peers, and like they can just sit around and talk about it.
We all want to have different types of people, because like when you sit down, we can't all connect to the same person. We want to have different characteristics in our circle that allow for maybe someone that I can't connect with that Ashley can. So it allows us to have diversity.
So do you have cases where someone will come up to you, Ashley or Jorge, and say, hey, I'm really having a problem and I really want to talk to you about it? Is that how this works quite a bit?
I don't know that they would be known walking down the hallways, only because it's such a diverse group of students. 50 students. It's not something where the students would go up and grab them. More likely what happens is a situation gets brought up to an adult, either a teacher or an administrator, and we are kind of well versed in going, wow, that's a great opportunity for this student or these two students in conflict to go and sit down with H.A.L.O, as opposed to, like Ashley said, as opposed to an adult situation where there could be discipline or could be a negative consequence involved with it. It's a different mindset to walk into a situation with 5 or 6 students sitting around in a circle, and that's how you're working out the conflict or the issue. And so it's mainly, a lot of times, in lieu of a disciplinary action, we're going to utilize the H.A.L.O group.
So it sounds like really what you're trying to do is make it very apparent that this is not a good thing to do, to bully somebody, do the power trip or whatever you want to humiliate somebody. And your peers are telling you that this just isn't cool.
Frankly, it's not very effective to have a situation happen and then have a consequence for it with an adult. That doesn't necessarily change the behavior. It applies a consequence to it, but really what we're looking for is behavioral change. Not just get in trouble for what you did, it's realize how what you did hurts people and hurts our school. And so to come from us, adults, like Ashley said, sometimes the students will tune us out, but to come from your peers and a group of people that you know and you practice on the field with every day or in class with every day, it takes a whole different tone. And really what we found as adults is that it actually changes student behavior more effectively than working with adults sometimes. And so it's really about them saying we are the ones that can help change this behavior in the school.
Yeah, it's difficult because it can almost seem normal to a person who's being bullied. This just happens. This is my life. It's an awful thing to contemplate, that there are people who are going through all this. Particularly now with all the social media, and it's 24 hours a day you can bully somebody.
What we do find is that when a student would go home, that there is the social media, and so a lot of times as students come into school the next day is when we get the reports of this did happen on social media, or after school hours, over the evening, and then that's something that, as much as we don't want it in our school building and in our culture, we also don't want it in our community. And so that's another thing that really a lot of our time, and I would say a majority of the incidents are now online through social media. And so
it's more of a mental cruelty rather than someone punching someone or doing that kind of stuff. What is your biggest difficulty in dealing with this, dealing with the problem of bullying?
As I said, we spent a lot of our efforts on prevention, which has really reduced the amount of it. So the amount of time spent into dealing with the aftermath of it has been minimized for us, and we can put our efforts elsewhere. With the addition of the students and the student group, that has also taken a whole role of it. So I think the difficulty that we see at this part is just being able to stay on top of the social media, being able to stay on top the things that are happening outside of the school that then later on come into the school.
Yeah, I think a lot of us as like students, we can see that we emphasize us being a really big family, and like we have friends that go to different schools, and like a lot of kids that come here that transfer always talk about how it's such a family atmosphere here. Like we always want to get to know everyone and be kind to everyone, and it's like emphasized here, and it's not just because the adults say it, it's because we want to make it like that.
I would assume that the 211, the administrators do help. Do they bring experts in? Do you get some training on what you should do in these type of situations?
We actually do that both for our staff and our students. We have experts come in, we have training sessions, we have different workshops on bullying specifically, but also just general social emotional wellness of students and of staff to make sure that we're addressing all of those different issues that could go into it, not only the prevention of it, but why it happens, how we can stop it. So we do that, and then we also have school-wide lessons as part of our SOAR program, and there are times during the course of the school year that they will focus on, we may not use the direct term bullying, but we're focusing on the prevention efforts and also the teaching efforts then.
We actually had one today.
Yeah,
They was talking about like, bullying and sympathy and how you act towards others. So it's like it's something that's like stays constant, and like with SOAR has definitely helped the school. Like it has changed from when I was a freshman to now that I'm a senior. It has definitely made a really big impact.
Well, that's partly because of the efforts of you students.
Absolutely. I think our school district 211 is committed to preventing bullying and making sure that it's not happening in all of our schools, and so they definitely support us at the building level as far as us being able to be educated, us being able to work with experts and learn, and then implement programs in our schools that we believe are going to be effective. And then I would also say, working together with our parents and our students, because I don't want to repeat what I said before, but adults, the adults in the school, they can't stop all of it, and so that's when the students come in, and I would say our students have done a better job probably than most.
Yeah, the power is with the students in this case, really.
Yep.
We're like a family community. Like our school is the most diverse school that we have in the district, I would say. And with that, we take that so well. Like everyone knows that everyone comes from different backgrounds, and like Mr. Schumacher said, like we don't see instances of just bullying. Like we look around and we don't see it like that often. Like it's all on social media, but in person, everyone just gets along and everyone accepts everyone's just like they in SOAR. We all accept differences, and that's just what our school does.
Well, that's really the key to this. If a member of the community saw something, maybe a parent or maybe a neighbor of a student or something, what can they do?
If you're a community member or a parent and you see something happening or you hear of something happening, I would just say contact the school immediately, and you can either ask for me or you can ask for a student's administrator, and we will definitely get the information and then act upon it so that our students are safe and feel welcomed and valued both in the school building and in the community.
Well, that's a good thing to know, because I'm sure there's cases where someone's not being bullied at school, but it may be in their neighborhood.
Yeah, and I would go back to kind of what our viewpoint here is. It's everybody's job, right? It's our students' job, it's our staff's job, and if we can, expand that to the community, we gladly work together and collaborate to make sure that it doesn't happen anywhere.
We appreciate your commitment, all three of you.
Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you coming out and letting us talk to you about this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.